Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and I'm back with another Lord of the Rings video. I recently watched The Two Towers for the first time ever, and it was very good, so let's talk about it. If you haven't seen my first video, then the link is on the top of the screen. I'm talking about Fellowship of the Rings. So, moving on to The Two Towers, it opens with Gandalf fighting this, dragon fire creature in Moria. It's kind of like a flashback to what happened earlier, and we find out that it's like a nightmare that Frodo's having. And Frodo and Sam are continuing the journey from the last movie, and they're lost in these like snowy mountains near Mordor, and they're trying to get to Mordor to destroy the ring. And they find out that they're being tracked by Gollum, who used to have the ring. He's like this like weird cocaine addict thing, and Gollum tries to attack him and steal the ring, but they capture him and they kind of force him to guide them to Mordor. And Frodo kind of feels sorry for Gollum because he's kind of under the influence of the ring sometimes, so he knows what it's like, and he just kind of feels sorry for him. And Sam's a little bit more rough on him, but Frodo's like, "No, Sam, you remember we gotta need Gollum to infiltrate Mordor." I just feel like they could have found a better guide, but beggars can't be choosers. Meanwhile, Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli are like chasing after these horsemen who kidnapped their friends Merry and Pippin, the hobbits from the comic relief hobbits from last movie, and they're entering the kingdom of Rohan. I feel like that's how you pronounce it. So the horsemen are like ambushed by a group of Rohirrim, which allows the hobbits to escape into this forest with the talking trees. But we'll get back to the talking trees later, because that's really fun. So, Cole Olben meets Aragorn. Of course, everybody knows who Cole Olben is. I don't know, he was in this movie, so it's kind of cool. He explains that he and his men have been exiled by Rohan's king, who's under the control of Saruman, and his servant Grima, who... Okay, so, first of all, the king is played by the captain of the Titanic, and his servant is played by the guy from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Billy, the guy who killed himself at the end. Spoilers. So that was cool. I think I knew that his servant was going to be in the movie, Billy Boyd, before I watched this. I did not know about the captain of the Titanic though. That was kind of cool. Both epic movies from the same time period. Carl Urban thinks that Merry and Pippin were killed during the raid, but he leaves the group with two horses for some reason. And, okay, so Aragorn is searching for the hobbits, and he encounters Gandalf. Oh my god! He had a fake-out death! Who could have predicted this? The postal predicted it. And Gandalf reveals that after he fought that, dragon thing, he was resurrected as Gandalf the White, who to help save Middle-earth. And I think he revealed that in the most cryptic way possible. He's like, "Oh, Gandalf the Grey. I used to go by that name. I'm Gandalf the White now." I just, I just think he, made that way more complicated than he needed to be. So anyway, Gandalf leads the trio to Rohan's capital, and Gandalf frees the captain of the Titanic from Count Dooku's control. And now he looks young. He went from looking like Chuck Schumer to looking like somebody competent. So the captain of the Titanic learns about Count Dooku's plans to destroy Rohan with his horseman army. So he evacuates all of his citizens to this fortress on some other part of the country. And Gandalf leaves and he finds Carl Urban and his followers, and he wants them to help fight for their restored, young-looking king. And Aragorn is friends with Captain of the Titanic's niece, who's named Erin, who I actually recognized from Homeland before I stopped watching it. And she becomes infatuated with him. Unfortunately for her, he's still in love with Liv Tyler, so that's probably not going to work out. But you know, she's cool. So, um, they're like fighting Saruman's orcs, and there's this really cool fight scene, but Aragorn falls from a cliff, and we think he's dead. Fortunately, he's not dead, because this movie has not one, but two fake-out deaths. And he's found by his horse, and the horse saves him. He, like, picks him up. It's a really cool scene. And they ride to Helm's Deep, and they witness Count Dooku's army marching to the fortress. So this is when things get really interesting, guys. And meanwhile, in Rivendell, Alwyn is told by her father, aka Red Skull, aka Smith from the Matrix, that Aragorn's not gonna return. And he's like, Alwyn, you know, if you stay in Middle-earth, you're gonna outlive Aragorn by thousands of years. So he wants her to go to the West. And she goes to the West, and she's very sad about that. And Red Skull, aka Smith from the Matrix, is contacted from Kate Blanchett, and Kate Blanchett's like, you gotta have the elves honor their alliance to the humans, and you gotta like have the elves help fight in the big battle scene. And he's like, okay, that sounds good, Kate Blanchett. Meanwhile, in the magical forest, Merry and Pippin meet this talking tree, and they have to like convince the talking tree that they're the good guys and they're not orcs, because I guess the trees can't tell the difference. So they're brought to this tree council, where all the trees take like a very long time to decide to not take part in the war, because they try not to talk that much, because when they talk, it takes a long time for them to decide anything. And Pippin's like, well, Tree Man, could you please take us into the direction of Isengard? And they witness like deforestation caused by Saruman and his rule. And they're like, okay, now we gotta like help, because they're cutting down my brothers. This is like one big episode of Planet Earth, by the way. So they stop Saruman in the tower with this like big dam, and Aragorn arrives in Helm's Deep, and he reveals that Saruman's army is coming closer, and the captain of the Titanic has to prepare for the battle, but they're like very outnumbered, so it's a long shot. But just when they think they're outnumbered, Gandalf and his army of elves arrives. So they're good, and a battle ensues. And the horsemen breach the outer wall with these like explosives, and unfortunately they kill the elves' commander. But the defenders retreat near the keep, and Aragorn convinces the captain of the Titanic to meet the horsemen in one last charge, like one last battle. And the defenders are overwhelmed, and they're gonna die, and Gandalf and Karl Urban arrive, and they turn the tide of the battle. And the surviving horsemen flee into the forest, but they're killed by the tree people. So that takes care of that problem. And Gandalf warns that like Sauron will retaliate with his big plankton eye. And meanwhile, Gollum leads Frodo and Sam through these like marshes, which by the way, like if you go underneath, you're gonna get attacked by these spirits from long ago. Frodo learned that one the hard way. But he recommends that they enter Mordor by another route. And Frodo and Sam are captured by these rangers led by Faramir, who's Boromir's brother. And Frodo helps Faramir catch Gollum, and he saves him because the ranger's gonna kill Gollum because he was in the sacred waterfall or whatever. And Faramir learns about the One Ring, so he takes captives to Gondor to bring the ring to his father. So passing through this, like, city, I think it's called Olagarth or something, Frodo tries to explain to Faramir the true nature of the ring. Like, if he puts it on, then, like, Sauron's gonna find him, and he's invisible, and, you know, all the different things about the ring. And Faramir's like, I don't care, and Sam's like, What really happened to your brother Boromir is that he was driven mad by its power, and he's trying to warn him. Rest in peace, Sean Bean, by the way. So, a horseman nearly captures Frodo, and he falls under the ring's power, and he goes crazy, and he tries to kill Sam with his sword, but Sam reminds him, like, no, it's me, it's your Sam. And it's a very good scene. Like, Sean Astin, every scene he's in, he carries it. Sean Astin's like, he's great. He carries every scene he's in. And Frodo kind of snaps out of him. And Philomio's kind of impressed by this, how Frodo's able to snap out of it, and he releases them. And I gotta say, Sean Astin's doing all the heavy lifting in this partnership. Like, Frodo's always gonna go crazy, and Sean Astin always talks him out of it. It's great. It's fantastic. And Gollum has this like weird conversation with himself. I guess it's Gollum versus Smeagol. And Gollum's like, Smeagol, you got to betray Frodo and reclaim the ring. And Smeagol's like, okay, cause Master Frodo lied to me. So they're gonna, instead of taking them to where they want to, they take him to Hole. I don't know who Hole is. Probably a woman. And they leave, and that's pretty much the end of the movie. Also, a great song at the end. So I liked this a lot. It was a great movie. I'm gonna give it a B plus. Same as the last one, because I think they're very similar. Like in terms of how I feel about them. It just doesn't feel like a sequel. It just feels like part two, or like a three-part TV show or something. I liked how this one was more action heavy, but still focused on character growth and character development. Cause you can have action all you want, but I don't care about it unless it's about like the characters and what they go through. That's the main reason for people to watch to enjoy stories. And I think Lord of the Rings is a master at this. The acting all around is great. Orlando Bloom's great. Sean Astin's awesome. Ian McKellen's epic. Viggo Mortensen, he's so cool. Viggo Mortensen's character is like the Obi-Wan Kenobi of this series. I'm talking like Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's just like the cool action hero side character. It's awesome. All the cast is great. The directing is awesome. New Zealand looks beautiful. The music, Howard Shore's music, is so good. Those, yeah, those. It's a great movie. Great movie. I'm looking forward to seeing the third movie, and you'll see my video on that sometime later this week. So keep an eye out. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on the Two Towels. Don't spoil the third one, okay? And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.